We all know that person, right? They just have this way about them. They walk in and suddenly the room feels, I don't know, a little brighter.
Yeah.
It's that elusive thing we call charisma. And for many of us, it kind of feels like something you either lucked out with at birth or you just didn't.
Right. Or you just didn't get it. But what if that feeling isn't like the whole story? What if charisma isn't some magical innate gift, but more like a muscle, something you can actually develop?
Okay.
That's a really compelling idea at the heart of this fascinating book we've been digging into. It totally challenges that whole born with it idea.
Exactly. So for you, the listener, our deep dive today is all about unpacking these ideas. We want to pull out the key insights from this book and give you some practical understanding of how charisma works and maybe even how you can, dial up your own a bit.
Yeah, definitely.
We promise, no information overload here, just the good stuff.
So this book we've been exploring, it makes a really strong case that charisma isn't imprinted on your DNA.
Mm-hmm.
Instead, it argues that it blossoms through our interactions with other people.
Mm-hmm.
It introduces this concept of a social incubator. And when you actually stop and think about it, those years of childhood and adolescence, they are exactly that.
The social incubator, I like that phrasing. Okay, let's explore this a bit. Because you are thrown into all these situations as a kid, aren't you? School, sports, just hanging out.
Constantly.
You're constantly bumping up against other people. There's all this forced interaction, this endless opportunity to try things out socially, develop a sense of humor.
See what lands, what doesn't, yeah.
Right, figure out your personality, basically.
Precisely.
Yeah.
And the book suggests these early years should be prime time for cultivating those charismatic tendencies. You've got constant interaction, the freedom of play, laughter, just experimenting with different ways of relating. Yet, the book also hints at something really interesting, how sometimes those very opportunities can be missed or even kind of unintentionally stifled.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting for me. The book actually points to the kids who weren't always the quietest or, the most compliant as often being the ones who develop that spark.
Yeah, it talks about the role of the talkers, the joke tellers, maybe even the occasional rule bender, the more expressive personalities.
So why is that? What's the thinking there?
Well, what's fascinating here is the why behind it. The book proposes it's not the rule breaking itself that breeds charisma, exactly, but that these individuals, for better or worse, they just get significantly more practice.
Practice in what?
In voicing their thoughts, being authentic, seeing how others react. They're essentially getting more reps, in the social gym, so to speak.
Ah, okay. So it's like they're more willing to put themselves out there, maybe take a few social risks.
Yeah, potentially.
But the book is also clear, right? That you don't have to be the class clown or a rebel to develop charisma.
Oh, absolutely not. No. There are plenty of people who are thoughtful and polite and still have that magnetic quality. It's not either.
Okay.
And this leads into another really intriguing idea the book introduces: social wizard tactics. These subtle but incredibly effective strategies that charismatic people seem to use almost intuitively.
Social wizard tactics.
Okay.
I think that sounds kind of fun. Can you give us an example from the book? I think I remember reading something about a pressure washer. Was that it?
Yes, that's a perfect illustration. The book describes this scenario, right? Someone needs help moving a pressure washer. Heavy thing.
Right.
But instead of just saying, hey, can you help me carry this? They layer in these small but significant cues.
Like what?
Like using the person's name, offering a genuine smile, specifically asking for their help, emphasizing the need, can you help me with this? They might also mention, say, the value of the item, it's quite expensive, which subtly conveys trust.
Okay, I see.
And even more cleverly, they might tailor the request to the individual, maybe asking someone they see as strong, which appeals to that person's sense of capability.
Ah, right. So it's not just about getting the pressure washer moved. It's actually about making the other person feel capable, feel valued in that moment.
Precisely. That's the key insight. The book highlights that the underlying driver of these tactics, when they're genuine, is a positive intention to make the other person feel good. And this, the book argues, is really the core of charisma. Think about it. You might not always remember the exact words someone said.
No, you don't.
But you almost always remember how someone made you feel.
That's so true. So it's a fundamental shift in mindset then, away from what can I get out of this interaction and more towards how can I make this person feel good right now?
Exactly that. But, and this is crucial, the book also sounds a very, very important warning bell about the dangers of insincerity. Fakeness.
Yes, I remember that part. The book is pretty firm on this. You can't just go around showering people with fake compliments and expect to suddenly become charismatic.
Absolutely not. People usually have a pretty good radar for what's not genuine.
Yeah, it can really backfire.
Totally. Being phony, saying things you don't truly mean, it just chips away at trust. And trust is, well, it's fundamental to charisma.
Right.
So the book then pivots to outlining some concrete strategies for developing authentic charisma. And the first one is pretty straightforward, giving genuine compliments.
Which makes perfect sense after that warning about fakeness. And the book points out, look, we all have moments where we genuinely notice something we appreciate about someone else. It's almost a natural human thing.
It is. The key, according to the book, is just to overcome that little hesitation we sometimes feel, that internal filter, and actually voice those positive observations out loud.
Yeah.
It's not about making stuff up. It's about expressing the positive thoughts that already pop into your head.
Okay, that feels doable. Now, another really interesting area the book explores is mastering banter.
Ah, banter, yeah.
Now, for some people, that might sound a little intimidating, maybe even a bit confrontational.
It can seem that way, but the book defines banter specifically as lighthearted and friendly teasing. Playful.
Right, friendly being the key word.
Absolutely key.
Yeah.
It emphasizes its role in showing authenticity and building trust, especially in closer relationships. When you can engage in that kind of playful back and forth, it signals you're comfortable being yourself.
And that makes others feel more comfortable too, I guess.
Exactly. It allows others to feel more at ease around you. It's that contrast with, say, constant, unwavering politeness.
Right. The book suggests that while being polite is obviously important, sometimes banter can create a deeper, more relaxed connection. It even touches on why making friends as adults can sometimes feel harder.
Yeah, because we often become overly cautious, stick to very safe, polite interactions.
Exactly that. We're afraid to step out of that box a little.
Right. And the book gives some helpful examples of, like, acceptable banter topics, things like friendly rivalries, sports teams are a classic,
Sure.
or maybe lighthearted observations about habits, playfully exaggerating someone's strengths, making obviously silly, untrue jokes. The crucial thing is that it's fun for everyone involved.
Yeah, that's a critical distinction. The book draws a very clear line, doesn't it? Banter is not about being mean-spirited.
No,
It's not making someone the butt of the joke just to make yourself feel better or look clever.
definitely not. The intention has to be connection and shared amusement, not belittling someone. And building on this idea of connection, the book also highlights the immense power of active listening, showing genuine curiosity about others.
This feels really fundamental, actually, just
I
making
know.
anyone feel seen and heard. The book emphasizes that, generally speaking, people enjoy talking about themselves, their experiences, their interests.
They do.
Yeah.
And the simple act of truly listening, like being present, maybe nodding, making eye contact, asking follow-up questions that show you're actually taking in what they're saying, and that can be incredibly impactful.
Mm-hmm.
The book does stress, though, again, the interest needs to be real. You can't really fake genuine curiosity effectively for long.
Right, back to the authenticity point. Another great tip from the book is about acknowledging accomplishments, especially the ones that might be less obvious or things someone hasn't actively bragged about.
Yeah, bringing up maybe a hidden talent you know about or something you know someone is proud of but might not often mention.
Yeah.
Especially if you do it in a group setting, it can have a really significant positive effect
Why is that?
because it shows you pay attention. You see the nuances of who they are beyond the surface level. It says, I see you.
That makes sense. But perhaps the most powerful strategy the book discusses, the one that really stuck with me, was speaking through actions. This goes beyond just the words we use, right?
Oh, absolutely. The book presents this as maybe the most profound way to make someone feel valued. It's about the doing.
Like what kind of things?
Well, things like offering help before being asked, doing thoughtful favors just because, inviting them to be part of things, activities. These actions, they communicate value far more powerfully, often, than words alone ever could.
Yeah, actions speak louder.
Exactly. The book suggests the aim is to create those moments where someone genuinely thinks, wow, they would really do that for me, or they really thought of me.
That consistent pattern of positive actions, then, that's what builds that sense of genuine charisma over time, according to the book.
That's the argument, yes. It's about consistent positive impact. So to really distill it down, this book argues that charisma isn't this mysterious trait you're just born with or not.
Right.
It's actually a skill set, one that develops through authentic, positive social engagement. And at its heart, It's fundamentally about focusing on making the people you interact with feel genuinely good, feel valued.
It really flips the script, doesn't it? It shifts the focus away from what can I get out of this social interaction? How can I shine?
Yeah, totally.
To something more like, what can I give here? How can I contribute to a positive connection?
Exactly. So, as you go about your day, maybe listening to this, we'd encourage you to think about these strategies. Consider your own interactions. Look for small opportunities, maybe, to apply some of these insights.
Yeah, see what happens. And on that note, here's maybe a final thought for you, the listener. What small, genuine action could you take today? Just one thing. To make someone you interact with feel truly valued. It might be simpler than you think.
Mm-hmm.
And hey, if you're interested in more deep dives like this, exploring ways we can all, get a little better in different areas of life, be sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. It's called Get Better.
Yeah, check it out.